One scholar predicted hyperinflation 600 years before Weimar Germany. Explained exactly how governments destroy currencies. His name was Al-Maqrizi. And every word he wrote is happening again right now. Cairo, Egypt, 1409 AD. Bread costs 100 times what it cost 5 years earlier. People starving in streets. Money worthless. Economy collapsed. Society breaking down. The Mamluk Sultan doesn't understand. Blames merchants for greed. Executes price gougers. Inflation gets worse. One scholar understands exactly what's happening. Taqi al-Din al-Maqrizi, historian and economist. Watches government destroy currency. Sees pattern repeat from history. Writes treatise, explaining entire process. Igathat al-Ummah Bikashi. Relief for the nation, by revealing the distress. 100 pages documenting how governments create inflation through currency manipulation. Every cause, every effect, every stage of collapse. Written in 1411. 6 centuries before Weimar Germany. Hyperinflation 5 centuries before John Law's Mississippi bubble. 4 centuries before continental currency collapse. Al-Maqrizi explained it all first. With precision. With examples. With warnings nobody heeded. This is the story of the scholar who decoded inflation. Who warned rulers they were destroying their own economies. Who predicted hyperinflation before modern economics existed. Stay with me. Because what Al-Maqrizi wrote in 1411 is playing out in 2024. Same causes, same effects, same disaster approaching. Let's start with who Al-Maqrizi was and the crisis he witnessed. Taqi al-Din Ahmad ibn Ali al-Maqrizi, born 1364 AD in Cairo, Egypt. Family, Syrian origin. Moved to Egypt. Well-connected scholarly family. Education, studied Islamic law. Hadith history under leading scholars. Career historian, market inspector, professor, advisor to Mamluk sultans. Expertise, economic history, currency systems, price movements, social dynamics. The Mamluk Sultanate context: Egypt and Syria ruled by Mamluks. Military caste of slave soldiers who seized power. 1350 to 1411. Golden Age declining. Problems mounting. Economy based on agriculture. Red Sea trade. Mediterranean commerce. Skilled crafts. Currency, gold dinars, and silver dirhams. Bimetallic standard. The crisis begins. 1392, 1411. 21-year economic catastrophe. Started gradually. Accelerated catastrophically. Al-Maqrizi documented entire process. Phase 1. The plague returns 1397 to 1398. Bubonic plague returns to Egypt. Death toll. Estimated 300,000 in Cairo alone. Third of population. Economic impact. Labor shortage. Agricultural output falls. Food production drops. Prices begin rising. Bread doubles. Meat triples. Basic necessities. Increasingly expensive. Phase 2. Cyprus War, 1426 to 1429. Mamluks invade Cyprus. Expensive military campaign. War costs. Enormous, depletes treasury. Sultan needs money desperately. Tax revenues falling due to plague. Can't raise taxes more. Peasants already crushed. Solution. Currency manipulation. Debase the coinage. Print money equivalent of medieval era. Phase 3. The Fulus Flood, 1403. Sultan issues new copper coins called fulus. Copper coins not new. Always existed for small transactions, but now different. The decree, fulus declared legal tender for all transactions. Must be accepted at face value. Previous system, gold and silver for large transactions. Copper for small change. New system, copper must be accepted, same as gold and silver. The debasement, Sultan mints massive quantities of fulus, far exceeding economic need. Uses cheap copper, stamps high values on coins, forces acceptance through law. The immediate effect, treasury can buy goods with newly minted copper, effectively printing money. Short term, Sultan's finances improve, can pay soldiers, can fund wars. Problem solved, except not solved. Problem just beginning. Phase 4. Gresham's Law. Merchants notice. Government paying in copper, demanding gold and silver in return for taxes. Pattern emerges. Bad money drives out good money. People hoard gold and silver. Spend copper. Within months, gold and silver disappear from circulation. Everyone hoarding real money. Only copper circulating. Phase 5. The inflation acceleration, 1404 to 1409. Prices explode. 1403 bread price, 1 fulus per loaf. 1405 bread price, 5 fulus per loaf. 1407 bread price, 20 fulis per loaf. 1409 bread price, 120 fulis per loaf. 5 years. Bread increased 120 times. That's 12,000% inflation. Phase 6. Social breakdown, 1409. Complete economic collapse. Merchants refusing fulis, demanding gold only. But nobody has gold. All hoarded or fled country. Barter economy emerging. People trading goods directly. Money ceasing to function. Riots, looting, starvation, government losing control. Society fragmenting. Al-Maqrizi's observation. Post Al-Maqrizi held position as mutasib, market inspector, regulatory official. Job, oversee markets, ensure fair weights, prevent fraud, maintain order, perfect vantage point. Witnessed collapse firsthand, saw every stage, understood causes. The writing 1411, Al-Maqrizi writes his treatise, not abstract theory. Detailed documentation of crisis, analysis of causes, explanation of mechanisms, based on direct observation, historical research, study of previous currency crises. Conclusion: government destroyed currency. Inflation is policy choice, not natural disaster. Now let's look at how Al-Maqrizi explained inflation. For mechanisms he identified. Mechanism 1. Currency debasement creates inflation. Al-Maqrizi's core insight: inflation caused by increasing money supply relative to goods available. His explanation: money is not wealth. Money represents claims on real goods and services. If you double money supply without doubling goods, you don't create more wealth. You just dilute existing money's value. The analogy: imagine 10 people, 100 loaves of bread. Each person has 10 gold coins. Bread costs 1 coin per loaf. Everyone can buy 10 loaves. Market balanced. Now ruler gives everyone 10 more coins. Everyone has 20 coins now, but still, only 100 loaves. What happens? Bread price rises to 2 coins per loaf. Same real purchasing power. Money just worth less. The fullest example, 1403. Copper money supply normal. Price is stable. 1404. Sultan mints. 5 times more fullest. Floods market with new coins. Bread supply unchanged. Actually decreased due to plague. Result: prices rise proportionally to money supply increase. More money chasing fewer goods. This is crucial. Al-Maqrizi identified quantity theory of money. 6 centuries before Milton Friedman. Mechanism 2. Legal tender laws worsen crisis. Sultan didn't just mint copper. He forced acceptance through law. The decree: merchants must accept fullest at face value. Refusal punishable by death. Can't charge different prices in copper versus gold. Price must be same. Al-Maqrizi's analysis: legal tender laws prevent market adjustment. Force people to accept bad money. Without enforcement, bad money immediately devalued. Gold premium emerges. Market finds real price. With enforcement, bad money, artificially propped up temporarily, creates worse crisis later. The breaking point: merchants comply initially. Fear execution. Accept copper at face value, but can't maintain business. Goods cost gold to import. Selling for copper, losing money. Options: close shop, or illegally charge higher prices, or demand gold under table. Result: black markets emerge. Official economy shrinks. Underground economy grows. The enforcement escalation: Sultan sees prices rising, thinks merchants greedy, increases enforcement, executes price gougers, confiscates property, threatens torture. Prices rise faster. Merchants flee. Goods disappear from markets. Enforcement made situation worse. Mechanism 3. Hoarding and Gresham's Law. Al-Maqrizi documented what later called Gresham's Law, though never used that term. The observation: when 2 monies circulate, 1 good quality, 1 bad quality, people hoard good money, spend bad money. Rational behavior: if forced to pay with something, spend less valuable thing, save more valuable thing. The Egyptian example: gold dinars, real value, limited supply, cannot be debased easily. Copper fullest, artificial value, unlimited supply. Sultan minting constantly. People's response: spend fullest for everything possible. Hide gold dinars, refuse to part with silver dirhams. The velocity difference: fullest circulating rapidly. Nobody wants to hold a pass to next person quickly. Gold, not circulating. Buried, hidden, taken out of Egypt, locked away. Result: good money disappears. Only bad money remains in circulation. Worsens inflation. The export: merchants smuggling gold to Syria, Yemen, North Africa. Anywhere stable currency exists. Gold leaving country, never returning. Egypt's real wealth draining away. Sultan panicking. Bans gold export. Death penalty. Doesn't stop smuggling. Drives deeper underground. Mechanism 4. The wage price spiral. Al-Maqrizi documented what modern economists call wage price spiral. The process: prices rise. Workers demand higher wages. Can't afford food at old wages. Employers pay higher wages. Must raise prices to cover costs. Higher prices trigger higher wage demands. Cycle accelerates. The Cairo example. 1403. Skilled craftsman earns 5 dirhams daily. Bread costs half dirham. 1405. Bread costs 2 dirhams. Craftsman can't survive on 5 dirhams. Demands 10 dirhams. Employer agrees, but raises prices of crafted goods. 1407. Bread costs 8 dirhams. Craftsman demands 20 dirhams. Cycle continues. Wages always chasing prices, never catching up. Everyone getting poorer in real terms. The destruction. Fixed income people destroyed first. Pensioners, widows, orphans, on stipends. Their income doesn't adjust. 1403. Stipend of 10 dirhams bought 20 loaves. 1409. Same 10 dirhams buys 0.1 loaves. Starvation. Middle class next. Savings denominated in debased currency, evaporating daily. Only winners. Debtors paying back loans in worthless money. Sultan biggest debtor of all. The human cost was catastrophic. Al-Maqrizi documented suffering in detail. The Great Famine, 1405. Food prices already tripled. Then Nile flood fails. Low Nile means poor harvest. Egypt depends on Nile flooding for agriculture. Crop failure, combined with inflation. Perfect storm of disaster. The starvation, 1405 to 1407. Estimated 100,000 deaths from hunger in Cairo. 1/6 of remaining post-plague population. Dead from starvation in one of world's richest cities. Not from lack of food globally. From inability to buy food at inflated prices. Al-Maqrizi's documentation wrote, people eating dogs, cats, garbage, bodies in streets. Children abandoned. Described. Mothers selling children for food. Elderly dying alone. Mass graves overflow. Not plague. Not war. Government policy killed them. Currency destruction starved them. The bread riots, 1409. Bread price peaks at 120 fulls per loaf. Average worker daily wage, 80 fulls can't afford 1 loaf. Impossible to survive. Cairo erupts. Mob attacks bakeries. Storming granaries. Killing merchants suspected of hoarding. The government response. Sultan sends soldiers. Massacres protesters. Declares martial law. Executes merchants for profiteering. Confiscates grain stocks. Distributes at controlled prices. Temporarily stabilizes situation. But underlying problem unchanged. Money still worthless. The merchant class destruction. Cairo's merchant class wealthy and sophisticated. Traded across Mediterranean and Indian Ocean. Within 5 years. Destroyed the mechanism. Merchants held capital in gold and silver. Thought they were protected from copper inflation. But Sultan demanded taxes in gold, while paying for goods in copper. Squeeze play. Pay taxes in hard currency. Receive payment in debased currency. Businesses bankrupted. The documented cases. Al-Maqrizi recorded specific merchant families. Multi-generational wealth. Established for centuries. 1403. Among wealthiest families in Cairo. 1410. Bankrupt. Properties seized for taxes. Fleeing to Mecca or Damascus. The brain drain. Egypt's skilled craftsmen, merchants, scholars leaving. Going to Mamluk Syria, Yemen, North Africa. Anywhere currency more stable. Taking skills, capital, knowledge, connections. Leaving impoverished population. Unskilled labor. Economic wasteland. The orphan crisis. Al-Maqrizi devoted section of treatise to orphans. Particularly concerned about their suffering. The problem. Islamic charitable endowments funded orphanages. Endowments paid fixed stipends. 1403. 10 dirhams monthly per orphan. Adequate for food, clothing, shelter. 1409. Same 10 dirhams buys almost nothing. Orphanages bankrupt. The result. Orphans turned to streets. Begging. Stealing. Dying. Nobody could help. Charitable system designed for stable currency. Destroyed by inflation. Fixed endowment values became meaningless. Real value evaporated. Children suffered most. The property destruction. Wealthy Cairenes owned urban properties. Rental income from shops and apartments. The inflation trap. Rents fixed by long-term contracts. Typically, 5 to 10 years. Contract set in 1403. 100 dirhams monthly. Reasonable amount. 1408. Same 100 dirhams. Worth 1/10. Can't maintain property. Can't pay taxes. The abandonment. Property owners stopped maintaining buildings. Not worth investing in repairs. Some demolished owned properties. Sold materials for whatever they could get. Cairo's urban fabric deteriorating. Buildings collapsing. Neighborhoods emptying. Wealth destruction visible in physical decay of city. Let's look at Al-Maqrizi's specific analysis and historical comparisons. Case 1. The Roman debasement parallel. Al-Maqrizi studied Roman history. Knew about 3rd century currency crisis. Roman example. 3rd century AD Roman emperors progressively debased silver denarius. Initially 95% silver. By 270 AD less than 5%. Result. Prices increased 5,000% over century. Roman economy collapsed. The comparison. Mamluks doing same thing. Flooding system with debased copper. Same causes, same effects. Al-Maqrizi wrote, rulers never learn from history. Each thinks they'll escape consequences. Romans thought they were different. Mamluks thought they were different. Both wrong. Case 2. The Fatimid crisis of 1160. Al-Maqrizi researched Egyptian economic history. Found precedent from 2 centuries earlier. Fatimid Egypt, 1157 to 1160. Food shortages. Currency manipulation. Inflation. Caliph debased currency. Minted excessive copper coins. Prices soared. Result. 3 years of famine. Estimated 100,000 deaths. Economy devastated. The lesson ignored. Exact same pattern. Same causes. Same effects. 250 years earlier, Mamluks knew this history. Al-Maqrizi wrote about it. Didn't stop them repeating it. Why short-term benefit to ruler? Long-term cost to society. Rulers discount future. Case 3. The dinar-dirham exchange rate collapse. Al-Maqrizi documented precise exchange rate movements. Numerical evidence of collapse. Normal rate. 1 gold dinar equals 15 silver dirhams. Stable for decades. Based on metal content, market forces, international trade rates. The breakdown. 1403. 1 dinar equals 15 dirhams. 1404. 1 dinar equals 20 dirhams. 1406. 1 dinar equals 40 dirhams. 1408. 1 dinar equals 90 dirhams. 1409. 1 dinar equals 200 dirhams. Silver collapsing against gold. Why? Silver also being debased, though less than copper. The meaning. Real money gold holding value. Debased money silver and copper, losing value rapidly. Market rejecting debased currency. Premium for real money increasing exponentially. Proof inflation is monetary phenomenon, not goods shortage alone. Case 4. The Wukef system collapse. Wukef's Islamic charitable endowment. Donor gives property to foundation. Income supports charitable purpose. How WOCS worked. Property donated. Generates rent or agricultural income. Income funds mosque, school, hospital, orphanage. System worked for centuries. Supported Islamic civilizations, social welfare. The inflation destruction. Waqf incomes fixed or slow adjusting, but expenses rising with inflation. Example. Mosque waqf fee generates 1,000 dirhams annually. Pays imam, maintains building, helps poor. 1403. 1,000 dirhams. Adequate. 1409. 1,000 dirhams. Worthless. Can't pay imam. Can't maintain mosque. Can't help anyone. Result. Religious and social institutions bankrupt. Society's support system collapsed. Al-Maqrizi's outrage. Devoted entire chapter to Waqf destruction. Particularly angry about this. Saw it as attack on Islam's charitable foundations. Destruction of centuries of donor intent. Blamed. Government currency manipulation, destroying what pious Muslims built over generations. Case 5. The international trade collapse. Egypt prosperous through trade. Mediterranean to north. Red Sea to south. Crossroads of world commerce. The trade breakdown. Foreign merchants refusing Egyptian currency, demanding payment in gold only. Egyptian merchants can't buy imports. Don't have gold. Only debased copper and silver. The statistics. 1403. Alexandria port customs revenue, 12,000 dinars monthly. 1409. Alexandria port customs revenue, 2,000 dinars monthly. Trade volume collapsed 83%. Not from lack of demand, from currency crisis. The regional impact. Venice, Genoa, Constantinople, boycotting Egyptian currency. Requiring gold payment, or barter, or won't trade at all. Egypt increasingly isolated. Can't import grain during shortage. Can't export goods to earn gold. Inflation creating autarky, forcing economic self-sufficiency. Deepening crisis. So what did Al-Maqrizi's analysis reveal? The eternal pattern of currency destruction. The policy prescription. Al-Maqrizi didn't just analyze, he prescribed solutions. His recommendations: 1. Stop minting fullis immediately. No more currency creation. 2. Recall fullis from circulation. Exchange for limited amount of silver at realistic rate. 3. Return to bimetallic standard. Gold dinars and silver dirhams only. 4. Legal tender law, for debased currency abolished. Let markets set exchange rates. 5. Sultan reduce spending. Stop financing wars through currency manipulation. The response: Sultan ignored all recommendations, continued minting fullis. Made crisis worse. Why? Short-term political pressure, soldiers demanding pay, wars requiring funding. Spending cuts unpopular, easier to inflate than reform. Benefit now, cost later. Classic government time preference. The legacy. Al-Maqrizi died 1442. 31 years after writing treatise, Mamluk Sultanate continued economic mismanagement. Never recovered pre-crisis prosperity. 1452-1517, gradual decline. Eventually conquered by Ottoman Empire. Ottoman conquest partially due to economic weakness. Military capability degraded. Society fractured. All traceable to currency, crisis, and inflation. That Al-Maqrizi documented. The rediscovery. Al-Maqrizi's economic writings largely forgotten for centuries. 19th and 20th centuries. Western Orientalists discovered his work. Realized, this medieval scholar understood inflation better than most modern economists. The modern recognition. Economic historians now consider Al-Maqrizi, pioneer of monetary economics, early quantity theorist, explained inflation as monetary phenomenon. Currency debasement effects. Gresham's law mechanics. All documented in 1411. Centuries before European economists reached same conclusions. The pattern repeats every principle Al-Maqrizi identified, proven again in modern era. Weimar Germany, government prints money to pay war debts. Hyperinflation follows. Society collapses. Exactly Al-Maqrizi's pattern. Same causes, same effects. Zimbabwe 2008. Government prints Zimbabwe dollars. Inflation reaches 89 sextillion% annually. Currency becomes worthless. Economy dies. Al-Maqrizi's script repeated. Venezuela, 2016-20. Government prints Bolivars. Inflation exceeds 1 million%. Citizens using money as wallpaper. Literally cheaper than buying wallpaper. Al-Maqrizi predicted it 600 years earlier. The current crisis, 2022-2024. Global central banks print unprecedented amounts. COVID response. Trillions created, injected into economies. Money supply exploded. The numbers: US money supply increased 40% in 2 years. Largest peacetime expansion ever. European Central Bank. Similar expansion. Bank of Japan continued decades of printing. The inflation. 2021 to 2023. Inflation surges globally. US, 9% peak. Europe, 10%. Many countries higher. Official explanation. Supply chain disruptions. Ukraine war. Corporate greed. Al-Maqrizi's explanation. Too much money creation. Same cause as always. The denial. Modern central bankers deny inflation is monetary. Blame other factors. Federal Reserve claimed inflation transitory. Would resolve itself. Wrong. Just like Mamluk Sultan blamed merchants. Executed price gougers. Made crisis worse. The inevitability. Al-Maqrizi's lesson. Can't print prosperity. Can only redistribute existing wealth through inflation. Winners. Debtors. Asset owners. First receivers of new money. Losers. Savers. Fixed income. Last receivers of new money. Middle class destroyed. Wealth concentrated. Society destabilized. Pattern unchanged for 600 years. The warning. Al-Maqrizi wrote definitive explanation of inflation in 1411. 6 centuries later, governments still making same mistakes. Why? Same incentives. Short-term political gain. Long-term economic pain. Printing easier than taxing. Inflation easier than spending cuts. Destroy currency easier than make hard choices. Until crisis forces reform. Then brief period of sound money. Then cycle repeats. Al-Maqrizi documented this cycle. warned it would continue, was proven right. So here's the truth about Al-Maqrizi. He explained inflation 600 years before modern economics admitted it existed. Documented exact mechanism. Currency debasement creates more money. More money chasing same goods causes prices to rise. Simple, clear, proven, repeatedly throughout history. Through 4 mechanisms: currency debasement, legal tender enforcement, Gresham's law hoarding, wage price spirals. Every modern inflation contains these elements. Every hyperinflation follows this pattern. From Mamluk Egypt to Weimar Germany, to Zimbabwe to Venezuela. Same playbook, different century. The human cost is always catastrophic. Starvation, impoverishment, social breakdown, wealth destruction. Fixed income people destroyed first, middle class destroyed next. Only well-connected and asset owners survive. Al-Maqrizi saw it, documented it, warned rulers. They ignored him. Just as modern rulers ignore economic reality, print unlimited money, claim it's different this time. It's never different. Money printing always causes inflation. Inflation always destroys societies. What do you think? Is modern inflation different? Or is Al-Maqrizi's 600-year-old analysis still correct? Because right now, every developed nation printing massive amounts. Debt levels unprecedented. Deficits enormous. Us, 35 trillion in debt. Adding 2 trillion annually. Federal Reserve printed 5 trillion since 2020. Europe, similar levels. Japan, worse. China, hidden but enormous. All claiming, this is necessary. This is manageable. This won't cause inflation. Al-Maqrizi would laugh, then cry, because he documented exactly what happens next. Currency loses value. Prices rise. Savers destroyed. Society destabilized. Eventually collapse. The timeline varies. Mamluk Egypt took 5 years. Weimar took 3 years. Venezuela took decade. But destination always same. Hyperinflation, currency death, economic devastation. And after collapse, brief return to sound money. Then slowly politicians forget. Start printing again. Cycle repeats. Al-Maqrizi explained this 600 years ago. Every word still true today. The scholar who predicted hyperinflation. The historian who decoded currency collapse. The voice warning from 1411. Ignored in his time, forgotten for centuries. Rediscovered too late. His analysis, perfect. His warnings, unheeded. His predictions, fulfilled repeatedly. 600 years later, we're repeating his documented mistakes. Heading toward his predicted outcome. Money printing never ends well. Currency debasement always causes inflation. Government finance through inflation always destroys society. These aren't theories. These are historical facts documented by Al-Maqrizi and proven by 6 centuries of evidence. Yet here we are, printing, inflating, destroying. Again, the only question, will this generation learn? Or will we be another chapter in future historians' book? Another example of society that ignored Al-Maqrizi. Another civilization that destroyed itself through currency manipulation. Another proof that the scholar from 1411 understood inflation better than all our modern central bankers combined. 1411, Al-Maqrizi wrote the playbook on hyperinflation, currency debasement, money printing, economic collapse. 600 years later, we're following his script exactly. The scholar who predicted it all. The warning we refuse to hear.